The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. The ex-president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, powerful message to the Africans. Now, African leaders have seen that the youth that they used to think that their kids are grown up because the African leader or elderly person always have the mentality that the young ones do not have some kind of wisdom. That gray hair means wisdom. So because we don't have it and we have these dark ones, they think that we don't have wisdom. Until Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso came into the scene to show them that, that narrative is different. These children, you are thinking that they are kids, what they have in them is more than, we are even thinking ahead of these ones.
They are actually taking the struggle to liberate Africa again. And me, I support it, I can tell you, unless it is a kind of a coup d'etat like the ones before. These ones are saying, let Africa look after itself. So we face a very one-sided world. Those who are white in color have everything. Those who are not white, they must suffer. That is the problem we are faced with. That's a problem. And therefore you hear big people here talking about telling you every other thing, as if they molded us to become what we are, and therefore we belong to them. It's not true. We need to fight forever, liberate ourselves. Our own wealth is enriching countries out there, whilst we are being starved where it is dug from. It's not an innocent thing that when we all are human beings, you happen to be at a corner where you have everything, you must then be a target. I believe if you talk about these countries in Africa saying, or even in the Middle East, we now want to join BRICS. I think people are becoming aware that we can, in fact, equal the world. And we can only do so if we are able to see the truth to what is being done. We can't be made like almost semi-human beings when others are full human beings. I think that time has passed. And if you talk about BRICS, fortunately I was part of BRICS from the beginning. And I'm very clear what needs to happen, what BRICS needs to do. When BRICS becomes bigger, you might in fact have to change even the United Nations, because it is also one-sided. You have got a big organization with 5 people with the powers that we have never seen before. What do they call them, by the way? You remember? There are 5 countries. They are called very special. They take, exactly, they take final decisions over the whole world that we have. If they say no, is no. They are almost more than God.
Calling the shots.
At least God does not tell us. He made the laws a long time ago and finished. Them, if they said no, they call it what?
A permanent decision?
Is it permanent decision? Maybe. But what I'm saying, you have in this world people who are a majority from the West who are dominating that top 5. Some things had to be put right, because it means these are more than us, are more than angels, are God. Because as we are all here, that thing needed to have been revived by now. What else can be done so that we stop this thing that is happening in the Middle East when there is a law that is real law? not the law that says these ones are inferior. I don't care what happens. I can kill the child, can kill everything. If that thing happens somewhere else, the whole world comes there. We are living in a world which is lopsided. It cannot be allowed. We are all human beings. There's nobody who has more eyes and more noses and more mouths. We are the same. Why can't we have the same respect to all of us? And therefore, in my view, BRICS is an important element to change the world. And it's a pity because, as I believe, Africa is an important continent which must still jump higher to reach its real position. Because Africa has many, many things that other countries outside of Africa need. That's the reason why they were able to risk the seas to come to Africa, because they got to know that Africa has everything. But it was precisely because of that Africans were put to a place where they should not be taken very serious. Because if you have been colonized and you are still indirectly colonized, you are still a weaker factor. So that goes together with your input that you make. Is it taken serious? Because if they feel, for an example, no, we don't want this, they will do so. If they want to come and attack you, they will kill and attack you. I'm sure, just to make it more clearer what I'm saying, Gaddafi was killed because his country was beginning to say Africa must stand on its own and live in its own life. And for that, because he was talking like that, he had to be killed by the civilized Christian kind of people when he has committed no crime, except to talk about Africa, our country.
Do you think Africa has what it takes to be independent then?
Once the Western countries feel these ones now are becoming too big for their size, they will come in. And they've done so in Africa, came in on a number of times. Just before Gaddafi was killed, I was the last president who went to his country. I went there to talk to him when NATO was bombarding that country. In fact, I was given instructions as the president of this country that you fly this way, you lower your revolver, and people come from Europe, tell us in Africa, and we are in charge. That tells you the story of this continent. At the end, he was killed because he was very clear about Africa. And the Western countries did not want it, and they killed him. That's a reality we have. I think Africa, at this time, we've reached a point that we can, in fact, come together. We can, in fact, put Africa into our hands and develop it. The obstacle is the big countries, former colonizers in particular.
The West.
The West, who would want to keep Africa down so that they are able to benefit from Africa, to control Africa. What is left is that Africa should come together, and it's better to have a country, Africa, under our control, with our resources in our hands. I think Africa has reached the point. As you said, I was in Ghana. I think the discussion that we had with the leadership in Ghana is a kind of a discussion that has not happened in the past. The manner in which we see Africa, how we want Africa to be under its control, how Africa must benefit from the riches of the continent. Let me just make the point here. When the former colonizing countries were faced with the issue of how to control Africa, they then concocted what was called coups d'etats, wherein they will plan, once in their countries, how to remove the leaders in Africa so that they put their own puppets. It took a long time. As a result, what is called a coup d'etat was hated, because how to take such good leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, and there are many others. But it was initiated by the colonizers. They will buy people so that people are able to kill their brothers for their own interests. People today don't see the difference between those coups d'etats and these ones. But the coups d'etats that have taken place now are saying to France, enough is enough. Take your
Troops.
Your troops, our money must be here. If we were not misled, we would not be saying we cannot take these people as ours because it's a coup d'etat. It's just a name. They don't understand. These young people are saying enough is enough. That tells you where Africa is going. We are saying let that belongs to Africa to come and remain in Africa. And it's correct. What has been done is absolutely correct. Why should the French forces be sitting in Africa? Why should the money be brought from France to feed us when we've got our own? That tells you that the car is turning the corner. It is a reality, it is there. I have a clear understanding of what is happening. The coups of today are not like the coups which were defeating the ends of Africa processed by Europeans. It's a coup d'etat of the Africans defending themselves, taking themselves out of the kind of what these colonies have done to us. But some of us, even in Africa, we don't see it. We still want to put them away. They're doing a wrong thing, blah, blah, blah. No, they're actually taking the struggle to liberate Africa again. And me, I support it, I can tell you. Unless it is a kind of a coup d'etat like the ones before. These ones are saying, let Africa look after itself.
According to him, when Muammar Gaddafi died, he was the last president to visit. And even as a president, these people were still telling him the kind of fly. You know, when you are in the air, they have to tell you whether to go low, go high, go. These people were still regulating that. But the same people, NATO, who came into Libya to bombard these people, were flying anyhow, up and down, top down, anyhow that they wanted. They were doing it. So that it is high time that we, the Africans, will rise up, unite together, and fight for a better Africa. That is, these people are just controlling us for nothing, telling us what to do, what to eat, even in our own continent. That enough of that. So we have to rise up and unite. And these people, they have been sleeping for a very long time. They think that now Africa is for them. So they have to always try to carry the agenda of the oppressor. And Africa is a different narrative. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have shown the puppet leaders that this is something that we need to stop and do the right thing to save the continent. If other people have fought, sacrificed their lives to get us the peace that we have, why are you not doing the same? Look at when Queen Elizabeth died and they went there. See how they packed these our leaders in one bus. Yet when they are here and we ask them to sit in that bus, they will say no. Look at the convoy they have enjoyed. But when they went to England during the Queen's funeral, they packed them like sardines. And we thought that when the leaders came, that would have been the time for African leaders to unite and rise up and fight the oppression. But these people didn't even see anything wrong with it. They were just smiling in their car. They were just smiling anyhow because they are in the pink colors continent. So whatsoever bad thing that they do to them, they don't see anything wrong. Even when we were angry, our leaders were excited. Why? Why the third class treatment? And after receiving the third class treatment, our leaders will still give them the same respect and still help them to loot us, protecting the systems that the whites have kept in place, doing everything possible just to please the white person. Muammar Gaddafi were the same people they used. It's today that we are realizing the mistakes. Now we have Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Assimi Goïta, Abdurrahmane Chiani, and Ibrahim Traore. And these same people are still using the same tactics on our leaders and they still say yes. Yet when they go and sit in African Union meetings, all the songs they sing is Africa Unite, Africa Unite. Yet when they get up, they will never unite because when they do, the oppressors will do something wrong to them. They have assets there, so they can never do anything against them. Because when they try, those assets that they've saved over there, they will take charge of them. Why? If the United States of America could gather like over 50 states and make it a nation led by one president, one army called NATO, why can't you do so? Why is it that Africa is difficult for us to do? Why do we help these people to always develop their nations in expense of Africa? African leaders are so greedy. That's why they don't want us to unite and have one leader and one army, because everybody wants to become a president. They always want us to say, Mr. President, Mr. President. But your presidency and your fancy whatsoever is just in Africa. When you move out of Africa, they see you like an ordinary person. The only time the white people obey and smile and shake hands with you is the time that they want to take something out of you. The moment they get whatever they want from you, they don't see you to be anything. Yet these our leaders don't see that as an insult. They don't see the need for us to unite. You have to put down your selfish interests aside and let's fight for a better continent. Other people cannot sacrifice their lives for nothing. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Thomas Sankara, Muammar Gaddafi, they all lost their lives because of African unity. It has gotten to you and I. What is preventing us? If they were so greedy with power, do you think that this kind of whatsoever you had and you are calling democracy, you even get a chance to be like that? Why did it get to you and you will not think about the next generation? African leaders always think about themselves and their immediate family. If truly they are thinking about the next generations that are coming, by now we should have been united, do away with the colonial borders and colonial restrictions and everything that the West have used to divide us. That brought us these borders. We were living as one people. We never knew who is a Malian, who was a Ghanaian, who was. These people brought these things so that they will be able to control, divide, and win. So united we stand, divided we fall. Our strength lies in our unity. So let's keep sharing this message to educate our brothers and sisters so we can give a better upbringing for our children. United we stand, divided we fall. So that's the latest around the world in Africa and in South Africa.